the first class of SQL Server introduction. So what is SQL Server? SQL Server is nothing but, in SQL Server, we work as a DBA, database administrator. So what do the DBA does? DBA maintains SQL Server databases. So what is database and all? By the end of the class, we can understand. So generally, what is data? Before knowing what is database and what is data, what is the use of storing data, maintaining data? So transmitting knowledge one to another. If we store or maintain data, we can transfer knowledge. That is the main advantages of storing or maintaining data. Okay. So initial days, olden days, prehistoric days, how data were stored, how data were maintained. So in olden days, prehistoric days, there were used rock paintings like this. Just a minute. Is my mouse is visible to you? Cursor?
Cursor is visible, yeah.
Okay. So these are like rock paintings. Information data were stored like rock paintings. After that, so on stones, whatever the information, when the literature were developed, so they used to write on stones, and orally also for thousands of years as per Hindu tradition. So data were transmitted. Okay. So on leaves of plants and cloth scrolls. So like this data were storing and data were transmitting from one generation to other generation. Okay. So after that, data storage, how evaluated? So initial days, without paper, data storage were not evaluated much. So when paper were introduced, so data storage introduced into many books. Okay. After that, digital data storage came into picture.
Right.
So in 1890s, punch cards were introduced. So with the help of punch cards, they were used to store data. And calculations and population calculations also they were doing using punch cards. Okay. After that, magnetic drum memory introduced. So then magnetic tapes, right? So magnetic tapes introduced to store data. So cassettes, we all seen cassettes.
Yeah. Right.
So cassette tapes introduced to store data. Then floppy disk came into picture. Then CDs, DVDs, SD disk, and pen drives. Nowadays, we are using cloud. So this is how data evaluated from step by step. Okay, so we started with 1880s punch card. Nowadays, we are using cloud storage. So all companies mostly using cloud. If you see initial days, the first computer size was like this. You know everything.
Yeah.
I'm just refreshing all your skills. So first computer was like this. It is a full size of a room. Okay, there were large type of cables. So in 1949, computer looked like this. Nowadays, it is looking like this. So if you see evolution of generation of computers, so from here to here, we evaluated. So along with computer evolution, data storage evolution also improved a lot. Okay, so operating systems, so so all these is user operating systems. If you come to server operating system, it is different. So server operating systems, right? It is like data center edition, Windows. We can call it with year name. So user operating system, we call it with brand name, Vista, XP. Nowadays we are using 8, 9, 11. I think 11 is the 12. Is it 12 or 11? Which
Windows
one is
11,
advanced?
11, I guess.
11, yes, 11 is advanced version nowadays. So XP was the popular version.
Correct.
After that, so Vista also worked well. Windows 7 worked very well. Then nowadays, all people using Windows 10 or 11.
Yeah, no, no, no.
So nowadays, data storing is very easy. But initial days, there were so many challenges to store data digitally.
Right.
So when we were storing data initially, so one of the major challenge entire human race faced is Y2K issue.
Y2K.
So did you remember this issue?
Not
So
exactly.
okay, I'll explain what is Y2K.
Uh-huh.
So that is not required, but I am giving idea what were the
Mhm.
challenges in initial days when data storing was doing.
Yeah.
So in the year 2000,
Uh-huh.
sorry, it is not working. Let me open one. So initial days when computer were introduced in 1950s, data storing is very costly. So what
Right.
programmers done is, so instead of 4 characters per year,
Mm-hmm.
they have fixed these first 2 characters, 19, because they are into 19th century.
Okay.
So no need to give multiple times 1990. It can at least save some data type, integer characters. So they fixed this 19. So whatever you type, for example, 51 means 1951.
Okay.
60 means 1960.
60. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
This was this were like they are using in all programs.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody thought about the issue when it comes to 2000.
2000.
So in the year 1919, in all programs, they are using 99. Okay. 2000,
Now
it
I
will
got to
become
know. I
00.
guess this is yeah.
So 1999 means 1999.
Right.
00 means it will again come 1900.
Correct.
But all the computers were fixed with this program.
Correct.
So nobody can change now because OS level, operating system level,
Uh,
it is inbuilt default setting. So at that time, what happened? Did you remember blue screen of death in recent last
yes,
year?
yes,
So
yes,
what
yes.
happened?
That happened
So
with
many
me.
industries affected. So aviation industry affected, healthcare,
Yeah, yeah,
supermarkets, everything
yeah, yeah.
affected. So it is affected so many industries nowadays. But at that time, computers were not that much of popular. So
Correct.
wherever computers are using in Europe, US, it was very serious concern at the time
Right, right, right.
because in banking sector. So if you take loan on 1999 year,
Mm-hmm.
so on next year it will become 1900. So you need to pay 100 years interest.
100 is right.
See, that was a bug. Actually, this is the first bug human race faced in computers.
Mm-hmm.
So in the year of 2000 it came. So that is why they named it as a millennium bug. So
Mm-hmm.
this was serious issue. Y2K we call it as.
Uh,
Okay,
yes.
so many industries affected at that time also.
Uh,
Banking industries,
Whenever the
supermarkets.
computers were used, those got
Yes,
affected.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. In the banks, technologies, institutes, universities,
Right.
and this is the notice board in your railway station, I think. So instead of 2000
It is showing
year,
900. Yeah.
it is showing 1900s.
Right.
Yeah. So because of just saving 2 characters,
Mm-hmm.
storing data digitally. So they messed up with the entire computer. Total, whatever the computers prepared, manufactured up to that time, all were not usable after one day. Okay.
Yeah.
So that type of challenges they have faced.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, data storage came very cheaper. Okay. So we are talking about data. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
what is data?
Kind of
There is a
information.
small difference between, yeah, there is a small difference between data and information.
Mm-hmm.
Information is separate, different thing,
Right.
and data is different thing.
Uh,
Okay. So data means it might have some meaning or it might not have some meaning.
uh,
So data is raw thing. For
okay.
example, here if you see
Mm-hmm.
Raghava 70,000 2000 Bangalore. If you see these things, you cannot understand anything because it doesn't have any meaning.
Right.
But if you process this data, you will get information. Raghava lives in Bangalore, born in 2000, earns 70,000 per month. This sentence has some meaning.
Correct.
So if you process data, you will get information. So as a DBA, we will not deal with information. Okay. So
Yes.
we care about only data. We don't see. We work in health industry. We work in banking industry. We work in science and technology, real estate. Okay, properties, insurance, everything. We never open table. We don't see information. Okay, even though that is not required actually. So we deal with data only. Okay, so initial days we were using flat files like Notepad. So for example, if you want to store data in business form, so for example, this is the table like that, serial number, name,
Like this they used to.
okay, location. So initial days like, for example, location, one more thing, department. Okay, so one name is Hari, location Bangalore, department is marketing. Two, Gaurav, location, for example, Chennai, department finance. What if I have long name, for example, Veera Venkata Satya Narayana Swami Royal. This is my tip, for example. So next location, Vishaka, but no. Okay. Department, sales and marketing. So this type of data storing, they started analyzing. So it is very difficult to store and process the data. Okay. Then from flat files, from Notepad like things to, they evaluated using spreadsheets. Here you can store data in columns and rows. Okay. After that, so spreadsheet also not that much of processing type. So you can store data up to some extent, but processing data is very difficult in spreadsheet if you have tons of data. If volume is more, you cannot process it like in database. So, sorry. So advanced version of spreadsheets to store data and process data, get data back. So people invented database. Database means organized collection of data. Okay. So where you store, it is a program. You will store like Excel. So you will store data. Database in the database logically organized collection of data will be stored as a rows and columns. Okay. So this is the Arkell building in BTM Bangalore. This is Arkell building in US. If you see the shape of these buildings, this resembles database icon. So database structure, if you see database structure, I mean database icon in internet also.
It is like that only.
This is the database icon.
That's name.
Okay. So Arkell is one of the competitor for Microsoft SQL. Arkell and PostgreSQL, SAP SQL Anywhere. There are so many SQLs available in industry also. So this evolution came from raw numbers to noting in flat files, then spreadsheet, then MS Access. MS Access advanced version is database management. Okay. If you see database, what is database means? It is an organized collection of data. To handle the database, you need a program, you need a software.
Right.
That we called as a DBMS, Database Management System.
Right.
So database management system is the mediator between user and database.
Database.
If you want to retrieve any information, if you want to process any information from database, you need a mediator program.
DBMS.
We call it as a DBMS.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So this is DBMS. Application can connect to database through DBMS. Other database management systems, I mean, so if you are using MS SQL and somebody is using Oracle databases, their Oracle DBMS also can contact with SQL DBMS.
Right.
Okay. Users also can contact database through DBMS. Applications, other DBMS and users.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. So initial days, there were so many data models while developing databases.
Okay.
One of the model is hierarchical model. So in the hierarchical model, data were stored like this. For example, see this, electronics. So under electronics, all televisions come under this hierarchical model, and portable electronics comes under this. So under portable MP3 players under this division and CD players under this division, like this they were storing data in one of the model. So object model, so transport, all transport comes under this model. Then all bus related things comes under this model. All ship and water transport models comes under the water transport vehicles come under this thing, and planes, all air transport comes under this division. So like this, there were so many models. All of these models, RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, was very popular because of using less data and processing fast. So EF card, Edgar Frank card. So he was the person behind development of RDBMS. Okay. So he developed relational. RDBMS means relational model of data. So in relational model of data, what we do is, just a minute. Actually, my Excel is not working here. Otherwise, I could have shown. I'll show you like this. So, for example, if you see a database in sales industry, we can note like this in Excel: serial number, person, customer, product, then salesperson, okay, location, phone number. So like this, we used to store data. So serial number 1, customer name is Hari, product is, for example, TV, salesperson, for example, Gaurav, location Bangalore, phone number some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I purchased again one more product, for example, anything, phone, all this information is repeating.
Correct.
So I am unnecessarily wasting my storage capacity.
Storage.
Okay.
Right.
To minimize this, relational database model uses like this. So instead of one big table, it will divide this table as 2 tables.
Okay.
Or 3 tables. One table is salesperson table. Salespersons may not change regularly. Okay. So serial number or ID, person, person name 1, XYZ, person name 2, ABC, person name 3, DE. Okay. So another table is customer table.
Okay.
Whoever comes to my store, ID. So I can store ID as a phone number also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Customer is so and so person. ABC 1. So 3, 4, 5, 6. ABC 2. So my product table. product table, product ID and table. So product ID is 1, ID is DB, 2 is 4.
Okay.
So now instead of this much of repeating data, I'll use IDs.
Right.
See, serial number 1, customer, who is customer, customer ID. Instead of customer, I'll use customer ID, ABC1.
Okay.
Product ID is EV1. So salesperson is ABC XYZ. I use 1. Location. So based on location also we'll have some location not required because we have in customer table we have location.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So we will minimize the storing of data. So whatever repeating data, so we will minimize the data so that we can effectively store data and we can effectively process the data. So instead of using all information, so we can use IDs and codes.
Mapping IDs with one.
Mapping IDs.
Yeah.
So instead of one big table, for example, if you want to store sale information, just create one more table, that is sale table. Under sale table, so product, customer. That's it. So product ID 1, customer is 2. Product ID 3, customer is 4. Whenever you want to get reports, so you can relate all this information with master tables. This is a relational database model. Okay, so if you see this slide, so this is customer table. This is customer table, sales. Okay, customer ID, person ID, store ID, all this information is present. This is sales order, sales table. This is sales order detail table. So all these tables are connected with keys. This is customer ID. The same customer ID existed in this table also. So they can relate to each other with the same information.
Oh, right.
Here we have sales order ID. The same column exists here in this table also. We can relate these two tables with the help of sales order ID.
Sales order ID, right.
Okay. So generally these things do developers. We don't deal with information. So we maintain data. So we need not to know all these things. Okay. So SQL means initial days when it was derived. So SQL means SQL, Structured English Query Language. After that, it evolved like SQL, Structured Query Language. SQL is nothing but one type of RDBMS.
Okay.
There are so many RDBMS available in the industry. So SQL, in the SQL, MS SQL, especially Microsoft SQL is one of the RDBMS. So, you know this terminology also, right? In a database, generally we call, programmers do know this. So records we call as a tuple.
Okay.
I mean rows. Columns we call as attributes. Okay. So this is about how SQL came into picture. What is the use of SQL? SQL means Relational Database Management System.
Good.
Is it clear as of now?
It is clear.
Okay. Now, so we will see what is the story of SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server, how it was invented and how it was evaluated. So it all began in 1985. Okay. So when Microsoft went for joint venture with IBM. So IBM was the very famous company at that time. Microsoft, it was initial. It was like a startup. Okay. Okay. So it went to IBM to develop OS2 operating system. So OS2 is like IBM operating system. So pre-version of MS-DOS. You know MS-DOS, right? Command prompt we are using nowadays. Initial days it was DOS, disk operating system. To develop disk pre-version of disk operating system, Microsoft went for IBM to announce a joint venture to develop this OS2 operating system. Okay.
Okay.
So in 1985, soon after announcing this, in 1987, so IBM announced one more thing.
Unique.
Okay. So whoever buys OS2 extended version, they will get free RDBMS software. So at that time,
Okay.
they have own RDBMS software that is called DB2. Nowadays, also IBM has this DB2. Okay.
Okay.
So IBM announced whoever buys my extended version, I'll give you free DB2 support.
Okay.
So DB2 was completely IBM product, but Microsoft do not have this facility.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are getting additional privileges, definitely you will go for extended version, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
So all people interested in IBM OS2 instead of
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft OS2.
Okay.
So Microsoft thought this is not going to work. So Microsoft at the same time in 1987, Sybase was the first company. They
Mm-hmm.
released SQL Server. SQL Server means one type of RDBMS
Uh-huh.
for Unix operating system.
Okay.
So at the time, we don't have any Microsoft operating system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So on
Mm-hmm.
1988, Microsoft went to Sybase because it doesn't have any database management software.
Uh-huh.
So to develop database management software, it went to Sybase and asked Sybase to
Mm-hmm.
get joint venture. So to develop a DBMS, they already introduced SQL Server to develop it more popular. So Microsoft went to Sybase uh, in parallel with IBM. So they started developing SQL Server with Sybase. So in 1988, one more company, this is Astantet, it is a marketing company. It is
Okay.
not a technical company. So
Uh-huh.
marketing company joined with these two companies. They
Mm-hmm.
ported the SQL Server from Unix operating system to OS2 operating system.
Okay.
So in 1989, these three companies started developing this OS2 operating system SQL Server.
Mm-hmm.
1990, Windows operating system developed and SQL
Mm-hmm.
Server ported from first Unix operating system to OS2 to Windows.
Windows. Right.
Okay. So Astantet, this company thought it doesn't have any profit in this venture. So it
Okay.
dropped out from SQL development, marketing. So 1991, Microsoft and IBM contract also uh, stopped. So the end of joint development
Okay.
happened here. So Microsoft and IBM parted away.
Mm-hmm.
1992, all this development happened. So if you see 1994, the contract between Microsoft and Sybase also
Sybase.
came to end.
Okay.
So Microsoft is so clever. So when initially they don't have any database management system, they went to Sybase. After learning all these activities, how to develop this code.
Then they have
So
parted away.
yeah, then they parted away.
Uh-huh.
So later, Microsoft started continuing developing SQL Server for Windows operating system,
Okay.
and Sybase started developing it for Unix operating system.
Okay.
So nowadays, Sybase is occupied by SAP.
Mm-hmm.
So SAP also has a SQL Server, original initial SQL Server. Now we are calling it as a SQL Anywhere. Okay. This is
Okay.
the story behind development of Microsoft SQL Server. So the first version of SQL Server introduced in 1989 for OS2, for Microsoft operating system in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From 2000 onwards, they started calling SQL servers with year name. So
SQL Server
SQL
with?
Server 2000, year name,
Okay. Okay.
version name. So okay, product name,
Uh-huh.
we are calling it by year name.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So before 2000, we are calling SQL Server with version names.
Uh-huh.
Okay, 7, 6.06, 4.21a like that.
Mm-hmm.
After 2000, we are using calling SQL Server product with year name versions. So now latest version is 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So recently 2025 also announced, not yet released.
Okay. Okay. Announced only. Okay.
Announced. So you can go to one blogs. that is a beautiful block for Microsoft SQL Server. They'll maintain all the version history. Now SQL.
So here also means we have to run the queries to store the data and like.
No, we don't run any query. Coding knowledge not required.
Okay.
SQL Server builds is the block. Here you can see all the versions. Latest version is 2025. It is not announced. It is not released yet.
Okay.
So now latest available version is 2022. Okay.
Right.
So in the industry, and the cloud industry, it is cloud map. So Amazon Web Services and Microsoft are in the top of the tables. Okay, there are so many database providers. So IBM also providing SP, SAP also providing Snowflake, Alibaba Group, Google also providing, Oracle also providing. So among all of these database providers, AWS and Microsoft are on the top. So it is 2021 data. If you see recent data, Microsoft would be top of the table because Microsoft is cheaper comparatively AWS. Okay, because Microsoft has one operating system, own cloud, Azure, we call it as Azure, one database management system. AWS is just cloud provider. So they don't have one database management system. Okay, so if they want to provide any database management system, they need to buy it from someone else.
Correct.
So what is SQL Server? SQL Server is MS SQL Server is an RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, developed by Microsoft. Okay, so what are components of SQL Server? Under SQL Server, what will we do? There are 4 components under SQL Server. One is SSDS. DS means SQL Server Database Services.
Okay.
AS means Analytical Services. IS means Integration Services. RS means Reporting Services.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. So in entire this course, we will talk about SSDS only.
Okay. So other things are for means those AS, IS.
This is, let me explain. So what is SSDS means? Whatever the data you store for business transactions. For example, you will go to bank. So in which bank you have account?
HDFC.
HDFC. Okay. So from how many years you have account?
In this for more than 10 years. Yes.
More than 10 years. Okay. So somebody may have account for more than 20 years also.
Correct.
Somebody, I don't know when HDFC established. From the beginning of establishment, somebody may have 30 years data also.
PNB 30. That is right.
Okay. So they cannot maintain all 30 years data in single place.
Correct.
So any bank or any organization, they will maintain database of what they require. So they need only 1 to 2 years data for business transactions. If you go to HDFC Bank, you will ask for account statement. You will get only account statement for 6 months or 1 year.
Correct.
If you want previous, historical statement, under offline, you need to wait for 1 day. If you are downloading your own statement, at least you need to wait for 30 minutes.
Correct.
Is it correct?
Right.
So in these 30 minutes and this 1 day, they will go to their historical data and will get all your information and will provide. Okay. Right. So whatever we are storing this 1 or 2 years data, this is live data. This is called as database SSDS. Okay. SQL Server Database Services. Okay. So historical data, whatever you store, that is called SSAS. So that data is stored for analytical purpose. They will analyze their data. Then they will come up with their reports, so they can to improve their business. For example, just think about hospital industry, big corporate hospital
Okay.
like Apollo or any other type of, for example, Apollo. Okay, so they can store their 20 years of data and they can analyze. So in which month, which type of diseases are coming? Okay, so under which treatment, under which medication, specific type of illness is curing with lesser time, from which part of country more patients are coming. So all these things they can analyze from their database. They have entire database of all patients, right? All medication and all whatever illness, diseases, everything. They can analyze their database. So if I give this medication, if I suggested this medication, it is taking this many of days to cure. If I go alternative approach, it may take another 2 days. Or from Madhya Pradesh, more people are coming this type of specific illness. From Karnataka, these people are coming for this type of illness. Like that, they can analyze their business. I mean, whatever their organization is doing. So then, for example, in the month of January, this specific type of illness may come. So they will be ready with more type of medicines in the month of January with the specific type of illness. So for that purpose, they will store all the data in SSAS.
Okay.
Okay. So SSDS is used for live data, business transactions. So this is used for analytical purpose.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So for example, see Tata industry have it has more than 100 years presence in India. Okay. So this 100 years data they cannot maintain in live transaction database. So they will store it separate location. See, normal CPU, normal storage capacity, normal processor cannot process this information, large data. So they will use some more advanced specifications, CPU, processors, memory, all these things. So they will store under SSAS. So with the help of SSAS, and if you have any information in Excel or flat files or any other source of data, okay, so you can integrate flat files with database also using SSIS. So you have some data in Excel sheet, you have some data in your Word sheet, you have some data in flat files, Notepad. So all the data, if you want to integrate in one location, you can use SSIS.
Okay.
Okay. So after integrating data, you want to see reports. All managers in the company don't understand any technical things. They will understand only reports.
Right.
Okay. So developers maintain data. I mean, do modifications with data. DBS maintains data. Okay. Integration experts integrates the data, and then reporting experts prepare reports based on SSDS and SSIS with the help of SSIS. Okay. So after integrating, they will prepare reports through SSRS. So SSRS is old feature. Nowadays, people are using Power BI for reporting and Tableau, Crystal reports, ClickView. All these are some industry templates, I mean, tools using for report making. Okay, this is about SQL Server. So we have a tool like SSMS. SSMS is like monitor. If SQL Server is CPU, SSMS is like monitor. So without monitor, you cannot see inside CPU.
Correct.
Right? So let me open SSMS. This is not my regular computer.
Right.
That is why I am unable to open all the programs. I don't have SSMS in this computer. Okay, tomorrow I will show you what is SSMS.
Sure.
So with the help of SSMS, so this is the view of SSMS. So this is the server name, SQL server name. Once you connect to, this is the connect button. Once you click here, you can connect to SQL server. Okay. OLAP means analytical processing. TP means transaction processing. So like SSDS, SSAS. So OLAP means we use in analytical purpose, data warehousing. OLTP databases we use for business process. That is about SQL Server. Okay, this is just introduction. Let me stop the recording.